I guess time to get started. Right, welcome everyone to the Paketo working group meeting. Thank you for joining, especially since today is the first time we run this meeting at a different schedule. So thank you all for making the time and joining. For this particular session, I will volunteer to take notes unless you have any objection. Otherwise, I can help with that. All right. See a couple of new faces, kind of new faces to these meetings. I'd like to start welcoming Joao Pimentel. Would you like to briefly introduce yourself, Joao?
Hey, hello everyone. Thanks so much for inviting me to this meeting. I'm João Pimentel. I'm Brazilian developer. I work for Randall, and I'm going to present a little bit of how we use Paketo Buildpacks here in our company.
Awesome. Thank you for joining. I also see David here. I know David Sullivan, you're not a stranger to the project by any means, but probably some of the folks here haven't had the chance to talk to you, so would like to briefly introduce yourself?
Yep, sure. Hi. I haven't been able to join this one usually because it was in my evening time, so I'm glad we moved it. But I look after the Java Buildpacks side of Paketo.
Thank you. That's great. We're glad that a different schedule is serving community members in Europe. That's great. Awesome. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Let me briefly share my screen here. All right. So outstanding RFCs. I saw that basically there was just one open RFC to be discussed. So wondering if there's any update besides what we already have in the PR that you'd like to discuss about this proposal, a new dependency strategy for Node.js.
Hey, I guess I just came in just in time. I updated this RC with the changes mentioned or suggested, including adding the Cyclone DX for node module bomb. So this is ready to get merged in.
Awesome. Let me capture that in the notes. Is there any objection against merging? Cool. Thank you, Victoria. Yeah, I guess we are mostly in the implementation phase for most of the proposals. But besides this one, is there any other proposal or any other RFC related topic you'd like to discuss here? Nope. All right, time to move to next one.
Sorry, I do have one. I was just trying to find the link for it.
Sure.
And I will post it here. Everybody's favorite number.
Okay, let me see. Where is the chat here? Oh man. There you go. Oh yeah. Number of the beast. Cool.
So I know that Forrest opened a draft PR to kind of like investigate this. I was just wondering if there's any like plan to move this forward or if it's still on hold.
So this should be being picked up soon. We have been experimenting with the best ways of implementing the dependency RFC, and we've just gone through a couple of iterations. This is one of the ones where some experimentation has happened, but I think that that branch is going to be solidified as soon as Ryan gets back. I believe that he's on vacation right now, so he's going to go and solidify a branch on that, and then it should hopefully work. If that ends up not happening sooner, I'm just going to go in and basically do the implementation he was looking at doing, because I would like to get this done and closed.
Cool. That's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. All right, so next one. Cloud native build packs, updates, and our questions. Is there any question, any update from the upstream project that you're aware of and would like to discuss here? No. Cool. All right, so I guess time to move to the next section. In what I'd like to think of a regular thing that we could start doing this meeting like once in a month or something like that. We're opening the floor today for one of our adopters, one of the Paketo users, to share with us their use case, how they're leveraging Paketo build packs, and especially what we can do to better support their use cases. So with that, I'd like to welcome again Joao Pimentel from Run Dolly. Thank you for joining. Would you like to share your screen?
Yes, please.
Sure. There you go. It's all yours.
Okay, let me start here. Where is it? Okay. All right, can you see the slides?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so again, thank you very much for having me here. I'm João Pimentel. I'm a Brazilian developer working for Randolly. So Randolly is a Canadian startup. Over the past few years, we worked with our customers to help them modernize and migrate over 250 applications to Kubernetes, both plain Kubernetes and also using Red Hat's OpenShift platform. And the plan for today is a very, very brief presentation. I already spoke about Randolly. Let's see how we use Buildpacks, particularly Paketo Buildpacks in our product, that is App Director, and our feedback from it. And lastly, I hope we can have an engaging discussion in the Q&A session. So App Director is a developer platform that works across multiple clusters and multiple vendors. And it comes with the best practice as learned from the past few years working with our customers. And the idea is to abstract away the complexities that we have on Kubernetes and enable developers to focus on developing their own applications and services. So how do we use cloud native Buildpacks there? Basically, for building, of course, the administrators of our product, of App Director, they can set up they can guide the developers on how they can build their images for their applications. So for instance, here in this part of the screen, we can enable and disable the usage of Dockerfile if you want to disable or enable that. And also for different application types, we can choose what kind of automatic technology we can use. So for instance, we can have Heroku Buildpack for Java and also Paketo Buildpacks and also Red Hat source to image. So basically, when we choose that, for instance, here I've chosen for .NET Core, I've chosen Paketo. So when developers are going to specify the application, when they choose .NET Core, it's going to use Paketo Buildpacks as it was set up by the administrators. And of course, we need to set up the environment, the cluster, the Git repository, the branch, and so on and so forth. But for this example, let's build a simple .NET app. And we can also customize the boot process using Paketo flags. In this example, I'm setting up a specific version of the .NET framework using this Paketo flag. Whenever the user, the developer wants to actually build their image, be it from the user interface or be it from a Git webhook, it's going to trigger our Tecton pipeline. And one of the steps there is going to use the Cloud Native Buildpack lifecycle. So in this example, we can see here in the logs of the task, it is showing the Paketo log with the different steps, detecting, restoring, building, and so on. And what is our feedback from using it? So the first thing I want to say is that it's just very convenient. I remember I was talking to a friend of mine a few weeks ago, and he asked for some help with a Docker file. And I was like, sure, yeah, I can help, but did you try Buildpacks? And he tried and he switched to it, and it just from the get-go, it worked, so it was perfect for us. And it's also very transparent in multiple ways, in particular in the way it shows detailed logs of the build process with all the dependencies that are being loaded and built, the different build packs and build pack versions that are being used, and that's very important for us. Another thing we like is how we can use the Paketo flags for customize pretty much, I mean, almost everything. So it's very handy, so you don't have to change the repo, right? You just go set up a flag and it's there for us. And lastly, I just wanted to show a token of appreciation for the ongoing work on uniformization to make the different build packs more uniform. That's definitely very helpful. It's going to make it easier to use different build packs. And of course, we still have a lot to learn about Buildpacks. We are still in the beginning of the journey. So I brought here some issues we are having right now, which is not necessarily a Paketo Buildpack issue, because we still have a lot to learn, right? So probably something that we still don't know about. So the first thing is about versioning, because recently we experienced some issues when using the last versions of a particular build pack. I think it was the .NET one. And because, of course, we always want to use the most recent build pack available, but it dropped one of the .NET framework versions that we had specified in a flag, so the build simply stopped working. So we are trying to understand how we can define a specific version. And also, it's right now, we think it's a little bit difficult to look and see what are the different versions of a tool of the languages that are being supported in a specific version of the Buildpacks. So that's our feedback related to versioning. Also, it would be great for us if we had the ability to, we have more options to choose for base images. Of course, we have multiple canonical images, but for instance, would like to have some Red Hat images available as well. But of course, we understand that makes a lot more difficult to maintain the project, right? Thirdly, we are right now investigating a little, try to understand a little bit more how can use SSL certificates within our images. And lastly, just a little nitpick, because as I said before, we can use the flags to customize almost everything, but not the process types. For that, we have to add a file, as far as I know. We have to add a file to the repository, and we just think it would be nice and more uniform if you could also set that up through the Paketo flags. And that's it. As I promised, it was a brief presentation. I didn't want to take too much of your time. But before opening for questions, I just wanted to give a brief shout out for our team that is right now, today and tomorrow, presenting at Cloud Expo Asia. So if you happen to go there, or maybe someone of your friends or colleagues is there, you could please invite them to visit us at stand number J86. If you want more, if you want to get in touch to learn more about our experiences, our services, and our products, you can reach out to Rajit, our CTO, in this email here. And of course, you can find him and myself on the Paketo Buildpacks Slack channels. And I'm looking forward to your questions.
Great presentation. So I was going to ask, have you, are you only using .NET or are you using, like, I know you mentioned other build packs, but are you primarily using .NET? Is that one of the, because you mentioned it a couple of times?
No. That we are using almost all build packs. I mean, almost all application types. I specifically mentioned Buildpack .NET because Heroku does not have an official image for that. So for that, we only support Paketo Buildpacks. But for all these other languages, we also use Paketo Buildpacks.
Okay, cool. So the reason I was saying it is like the Python build pack, I recently made some changes with a lot of help. So if you saw that, has Red Hat support. So I don't know if there's something similar for .NET, but maybe there's some kind of project to do something similar.
Yeah, and by the way, thank you very much, Jericho, for your work there. I've been following the meetings remotely for the recordings. But yeah, so it would be great if you can have, because we are building from source, right? Instead of having dependency there, we are building from source so that you make it easier to support different images. So it would be great if you have that for the other build packs as well. And in the next 2 weeks, I'm probably going to investigate that if you can, as you said, use Red Hat for Python. The Python build pack as well. I haven't tried, so I'm glad you mentioned it because now I know I can look at it. But of course, for the other images, for the other application types, it would be great to have that as well.
Cool. And then another thing is you mentioned that you have to use proc files, and I agree. I ran into this, but have you ever used inline build packs? Have you ever tried those?
No. Inline build packs?
Yeah, you can specify it in the TOML file, the project TOML file, but long story short, you can actually create the process type by appending to a launch.toml file, I think it is. There's actually an example on the buildpacks.io website. So that's another way to create your process types. Like you can basically embed another build pack at the end of your whole workflow if you know you want to have a specific process type and you can have multiple. So that's another option.
Nice. I'll look at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jericho. Would you mind sharing links for the stuff you mentioned? That would be awesome. Thank you. Awesome. Who else? Is there any other question?
I had one around the process types configuration thing. I'm curious if there's any way that you could provide like an example proc file that had to be put in place just so we have a better sense of kind of the level of complexity of things that your users are trying to express to figure out a good alternative for the configuration.
Okay. Thank you, Frankie, for your question and suggestion. Yeah, well, it's not particularly complex, but it's just that you have to have the file there. And we think that if you don't have to change the repo, you can do everything from the flags. It would be easier for the customers. But can I send it to you through Slack maybe?
You could, honestly, my suggestion on that specific front would be if you could file an issue on either on the proc file Buildpack or on one of the language family Buildpacks where it comes up the most. I know in Python, that's probably the one that guesses the least about how to start your app. So maybe that one is relevant. If you file an issue and sort of include an example proc file on the issue, that would probably be the best way. So everyone can see it.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. You are mute, David.
Yeah, sorry. Still learning how to use this stuff. Any other question for Joao? No. Well, I have one. I saw in the Randoli website a nice comparison table. Let me put in the chat if I'm able to find the chat. There you go. You know, by reading the table there, I will say that one of the reasons to prefer Paketo Buildpacks is that it's the only option there with a .NET Core Buildpack or implementation available compared to Heroku or Source Image. Is that the case?
Well, it's one of the reasons. Of course, we also have unofficial images for .NET on Heroku, but the Paketo one is official, and we trust more. It has proper support, right?
Okay.
And also, it's just different. We like to have different options, right? To provide different options to our customer. And so, for instance, we noticed that sometimes the image generated by Paketo is smaller than the image generated by Heroku Buildpacks, which is one thing we appreciate there on Paketo. And also the customization, because for Heroku, which we also use, sometimes, for instance, for Java, we have to have the application.yaml file that we don't need that for Paketo because we can have that set up on the flags.
Awesome, thank you.
I have one more question. Sorry. Do you have any like metrics on, you know, when a user goes through this app director thing and they choose Paketo versus Dockerfile? Do you have any metrics on like the choices that are made?
Oh, I don't think we do, but that's a great idea. It's something we can look up into, because that would be a nice statistic to share, right? The preference of our users. Yeah, we can definitely look into that.
Yeah, I mean, I just find some developers, they like their Docker files and some are okay with changing. So yeah, that would be really interesting.
Yeah, if they have it and it's working, why change, right? So, but what we promote is that the administrators of the company can decide beforehand, so they can, for instance, they can simply disable Dockerfile usage. And in this case, they're going to need to investigate, do their research, and choose Paketo, Heroku, or Red Hat S2I.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome, that was a great presentation, Joao. Is there any other question for Joao? No.
All right, thank you so much for the space, for the opportunity, and most important, for the awesome suggestions I got here in the end. Thank you a lot.
No, thank you, Joao, for your time and your feedback. It's precious to us. Thank you. All right, so time to move to the open discussion topics. So I see one here. How do we announce large structural changes to Buildpacks in the most effective way? Who is the author? Would like to chime in?
Sorry, that's me. I got
Okay.
lost in my windows.
No.
Yeah, so this comes from a discussion that I was having with Ryan last week. It's a little unfortunate that he's not here today, so maybe we can talk about this again in the future. But essentially, over the past couple of months, we've made a couple of changes that have required us to modify the sort of build pack order in either subtractive or ways that like change the underlying API. So a great example of this would be the removal of support for dep in the Go build packs. And an example that we're currently working on is the move in .NET Core from having two separate build packs for ASP.NET and runtime and converging on one build pack for an ASP.NET Core runtime dependency. What this means is that we have build packs that we essentially need to say, these are EOS or like end of support. We are no longer planning on supporting these in the same way. And in fact, we are changing the underlying API for the build pack itself. The internal API, I guess I should make that clear for the build pack itself. Where, you know, like in the Go case, all apps that were supported except for dep apps will continue to be supported in identical ways. And for the .NET work, it is more of a case of no outward functionality change should occur. So you should continue to be able to build the same apps, but the layer structure and the build structure is changing. And I don't know that we as a project have come up with a sanctioned way to do this, so that you know, like just like a process to actually deprecate these build packs or make these deprecating moves. And we've kind of done it ad hoc for a couple of build packs, but it is becoming ever more apparent to me that we probably should have like a set of protocols in terms of what needs to be done for a build pack to be deprecated, for lack of a better word. So I wanted to like raise this in a working group and potentially open up a discussion post around this. And I have a couple of ideas of things that I feel should be the bare minimum, which sort of includes, you know, like trying to identify in as many places as possible that this change is happening and that, you know, it is going into end of support. But I would be curious if anyone here had anything that they would like to bring up for the original, or sort of like for the initial post of this. And if not, this is sort of more of an announcement that I'm trying to start a larger discussion. I will try and lead everyone to that larger discussion when I have a better forum for it. But yeah, it's more of a, I'd love people to start thinking about this issue and be ready to talk about it.
All right, thank you, Forrest. Is there any comment right now in this regard?
I don't have any intelligent additions to propose at the moment, but definitely think that this is a good thing to talk about. I had the same problem when I was introducing the dependency management changes, and it was just kind of difficult to know exactly how to announce that in a good way for everybody in the project to understand and for it to be organized. So definitely interested to see the discussion there.
One, I guess, like related question I find myself asking is sort of which are the most common ways that users consume the build packs, because there's several sort of, you know, layers of integration or layers of abstraction. Implementation build packs, composite build packs like the .NET language family build pack, and then builders, right? And as Forrest said before, we think about some of those APIs as sort of more internal, like APIs between component build packs. But it's hard to tell which ones are the internal APIs and which ones our users care about changing. without a clear sense of how people are consuming them. So in particular, Joao, I was wondering, are you all consuming the Paketo builder images? Are you consuming the language family build packs? How's that working?
Yeah, for Paketo right now, we are just using the builder images, the base and the full images.
Yeah. That's helpful to know. And yeah, the question also goes for you, Jericho, if you're sort of at that stage yet.
Yeah, that's a good question. Initially, we were just using the builder. I didn't understand that all the build packs were automatically included in it. But a lot of the stuff that I've been doing lately is a different builder completely. So we basically just consume the build packs directly.
So then in that case, it'd be like the Python language family build pack that you're consuming. Yeah.
Yep.
That's good to know. I'll definitely raise this same question asynchronously as well.
Cool. Thank you. So, Forrest, will you create a discussion to follow
I
up?
just wrote it down in my notebook as
Cool.
a thing to do. So it will hopefully be done by the end of today. And I'll post about it in probably the general channel and the core team channel in the Paketo Slack.
Thank you. All right. Is there any other discussion topic in the agenda? No. Wondering if you wanted to chat about something different. Any other question? Nope. Okay,
I'm
with that,
curious.
yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if we've, in terms of the core team, if we've said out loud that we're gonna have a presence at KubeCon. That's kind of been implicit. I don't know if we've said that in one of these meetings. Sophie and I are gonna be talking at KubeCon. Sophie and Ryan are gonna be talking at CF Day. Both of those, I think you can like attend them virtually. Tim's gonna be doing a demo also at Cloud Foundry Day. And then we're also going to be staffing physical and virtual booths. So if you want to learn more about Paketo, there will be opportunities at the end of the month.
You're totally right. Thank you, Frankie. Yeah, we'll add links for everything, the follow-up message from this meeting. And it's also there in the newsletter. Thank you for the reminder. Awesome. All right, so I think with that, thank you all for joining. Thank you for your time. See you in the next one.
Thank you.